Hi there, this video is to help you with your assignment. So I'm going to break down the task into those 5 questions and give you a bit of help with the writing. So the title of our assignment is "Why is New South Wales drowning in dust?" And what we're trying to do with this assignment is to investigate the causes and impact of drought. So by the end of the assignment, you should be able to identify and explain the key biophysical processes which relate to the issue of drought. You've got to explain the scale of the issue. You've got to outline the interactions with other components of the biophysical environment. You've got to explain the sensitivity of the biophysical environment to change, and then explain the importance of understanding key biophysical factors for effective management. Sounds a lot of words, and what I would do first of all is to look at that title page, look at all the words that you need to understand, highlight them, and then go away and find what they mean. That's a real important starting point. If you're unsure about what they mean, come and see me, but make sure you go and try and learn them yourself. Throughout this video, I'll explain some as well, and again, if you need any help, just ask. So this is what the syllabus says. We've got to do a case study that looks at all of the biophysical interactions. So again, where did I get those questions from? Well, the investigation will include, that section is where I got our tasks from. So we're going to look at drought. Drought at the moment is very, very important. It's quite current in the news, so you by all means use that information. Don't think everything's in a textbook. Geography is happening now, and it's really important that we find current examples. So let's start looking at why New South Wales is drowning in dust, and let's see if we can achieve that goal by investigating the causes and impacts of that drought. So when we're talking about drought, the first thing we've got to do is identify and explain the key biophysical processes which relate to the issue of drought. So I want you to tell me, why is drought happening and what has caused it? That's the real key thing. So you've got to identify, which is recognise a name. So the issue that we're looking at is drought. I want you to go away and tell me what causes drought. That's the biophysical interactions. And then I want you to explain what has led drought to occur. So if there's why explain why there's not rainfall lead to drought? That's really, really important. Make sure when you're doing this you explain and you answer the when, the where, the how, and the why. Then the next thing, when you're explaining the scale of the issue, you've got to relate cause and effect. That's what explain means. I want you to tell me the areas at risk. Use maps, refer to the map in your explanation, because you've got to talk about scale. Scale is a measure of different things. We're looking at the scale of drought. What is it? What is the scale of drought in New South Wales, in Western New South Wales, in Australia? That's what you've got to break up and try and explain. So that's what I mean by different scales. And it's really important that you mention all of those three, not just straight away jump in with statements like Australia's in drought. What areas, where? And that's where you've got to really explain the causes. When you're explaining the scale, explain the location and the reason why it's experienced drought. You've got to link those two things. The reason why we've got drought is because of the location, and you need to start linking, and this is what the explanation comes in, the how, the when, the where, the why, with the areas at local risk as well as within the region, and look at the major geographical features. I've given a bit of help there, but the Great Dividing Range is an area that you're going to be looking at, and look at the effects it's having around areas west of that. The third task says you've got to outline interactions with other components of the biophysical environment. So remember, the biophysical environment includes the lithosphere, which is due to rocks, hydrosphere, which is due to water, atmosphere is the obviously invisible layer of gas that we breathe in, and then biosphere is anything to do with anything living and non-living. Now when you outline, you've got to sketch in general terms, indicate the main features of something. So I don't want you to go into a huge amount of detail, but I want you to mention every single component and trying to make links in between those components. That's what this question is really asking you to do. The next question, explain the sensitivity of the biophysical environment to change. The key word there is sensitive. I want you to define in your own words what environmental sensitivity means. And then I want you to explain why, how, when, where the biophysical environment is sensitive to this change. And what you're going to need some examples in there, because that's what explains all about the where, the when. And then you really need to link sensitivity to that biophysical environment. Remember, we're talking about drought. We're talking about probably places in far west New South Wales, not too far away. Talk about those biophysical environments and explain how the sensitivity of the biophysical environment to change. Why are naturally those biophysical environments susceptible to change? And that's what you've really got to get into. The next one is explain the importance of understanding key biophysical processes for effective management. Now, the first thing I would do here is talk about what effective management is. Put some examples of stuff. Explain why. Explain how is it effective management. So when we're talking about drought, water management is going to be a big thing. So we're going to have to talk about the hydrosphere. We're going to explain what water management is. We're going to have to talk about how we hold water, how we distribute water. All these type of things you've got to discuss. Also, what you need to do is put a bibliography. I want everything that you've used reference. Use the link in the library's web homepage in Destiny, the tree icon, and that there's an APA generator for you. So make sure you use that. And then finally, just to go through everything, I want you to, if you've answered those 5 questions, you'll be able to explain why New South Wales is drowning in dust. And basically, you're looking at the causes and effects. All right, I hope that helps. Any questions? Just shout.